And thanks for joining us. It's time to take a look at the front pages as they arrive. Well, beginning with this day, it's focusing on the statement by the governor of Zamfara state, who says banditry is not ending anytime soon in his state. Alleges insiders sabotage negotiations with criminals, promises to name terrorism collaborators, puts recent casualties at 58. Terrorists have dislodged many villages in Katsina, says another governor, Masari. And other stories on the front page of this day, this morning. Well, the newspaper reorganizes editorial board, appoints Adio, Jega contributing editors, Wabuku, Kankanda, Adamolekon, others join. And the PDP governors want National Assembly to quickly rework electoral bill and return for assent, tell Nigerians to massively register with INEC. Lament rising insecurity. All that from their meeting yesterday. You can find details in a copy of this day today.
The Punch newspaper is leading with the National Convention of the APC. The governors on that platform, they're proposing a February 26 date for their convention. Musa Al-Makura lead in party chairs race. And moving on now, a National Assembly under fire as budget uncovers 378.9 billion naira. Duplicated project still in the Punch newspaper. Chinese company dominates Nigeria's 10.5 trillion naira railway project, and that's according to a Fitch report. And the National Assembly, 600 women groups converge on Abuja for Bello's presidential bid. That's the Kogi State Governor.
The Nigerian Tribune is reporting that the federal government of Nigeria has filed fresh 15-count charge against Kano, leader of IPOB. And other stories here. Police are Motekun after criminals on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Trial of 15 suspects in Odili's home raid begins. 3 suspects granted 5 million naira bail each.
Let's take a look at the international papers, starting with The Independent. Navy policing of Channel boats will aid traffickers. And that's the Prime Minister being accused of distraction tactics over rush plans. And on the front page is a picture of a Briton who was swept away by the Tonga's tsunami over the weekend.
The Guardian with the headline, Cummins accuses Prime Minister of lying over number 10 parties.
It's the Daily Telegraph now. Tougher powers for magistrates to clear trial backlog.
The Daily Express is also focusing on the Prime Minister, but demands his attention on rising energy bills.
The Daily Mail says British troops sent to Ukraine fears Russia might invade.
The Financial Times understands that the government is exploring the possibility of giving payments to energy firms whenever wholesale gas prices increase significantly in an attempt to cushion the impact on customers.
And for the press preview, let's bring in Emmanuel Bella. Good morning, Emmanuel. Great to have you on the show today. I was starting off with this day. The governor in Zamfara state, Matawalle, says banditry is not ending in the state anytime soon. And one wonders, why is the governor letting us know that more people need to die before they start to do something?
Well, good morning, Kenneth. Well, the governor is just echoing what I think is already there in the public domain, which is the fact that a lot of people are losing faith increasingly every day on whether we can actually tackle this crisis. Every other day you hear stories of banditry, kidnapping and the rest. So the governor, speaking to that, is saying that this thing is not going away anytime soon. And he gives his reason. He said, look, there are internal collaborations, what the world had very long time ago when Jarati Wadanjuma raising his voice very early 2 years ago when he said, look, there's some kind of colluding going on between those bandits and people that are paid to protect us. And even back then, the general was saying that, the former defense minister was saying that collusion is going to lead to all sort of things. 3 or 4 years down the line, the Zamfara state governor is saying the same thing. He's saying that the collaboration between those bandits and people paid actually to security agents pay to protect all that. That will keep this going. It's become an industry on its own. That's what the Zamfara state governor is saying, and there's no better voice than that. And then getting some support again from his Katsina State counterpart, the governor of Katsina State, so almost echoing the same thing, that this is a tough war. Nobody know how to deal with it. Mention even two local government that seem to be affected most in his state. So these governors are just pointing to what most Nigerians are scared of. That look, this is no longer just fighting some sort of outside enemy. This is the war, the enemy within, and this is the war within, and it's making it more difficult. One very interesting, striking thing that the governor said is also they need to be very realistic about reporting those casualties. He said, for instance, that when there were those attacks, a lot of reports say 200 people. He said, look, it's not 200, but 50-something people. Yeah, but there are people that will say it's not about the figures. Those are just data. Beyond the data, real lives are involved, whether it is one or two persons. It's about the lives that are gone. It's about families that are suffering. It's about human beings that are involved beyond the data and beyond those numbers. Yet he's cautioning that, look, there are people who are interested in these stories, who love the fact that states are under attack, there are people who are ready to expose state and federal government for political reasons, to say that, look, we're not winning the war and all that. This governor is saying that, look, that attitude too need to be dealt with. The attitude that seems to celebrate these things for political reasons need to be checked. By and large, he's saying that there are many sides to this crisis, and we're yet to see the end of it. But of course, he offered some form of hope too, that he is doing his best, and that even this very week, we're going to start seeing some changes in what's happening in Zamfara State. Don't forget that the president himself has given himself a 17-month deadline to say we should watch him and watch how he's going to deal with this crisis. It's 16 months now. We're watching him. But a whole lot of people are talking about the security crisis, because by far it's going to be what's going to define the legacy of this president.
Indeed. And I wonder what this says about the president, who's been talking tough in recent times, when the Zamfara governor seems to be dousing all those hopes, saying banditry is not ending anytime soon. But Emmanuel, the governors in Nigeria have been meeting, whether for matters of state or matters of politics, within their own political party. The PDP governors met yesterday. We also understand that the APC governors also met, and of course they will now all meet sometime Wednesday here in the nation's capital. But let's look at the meetings that held yesterday, especially with the PDP governors. You have that on the front page of This Day. You also have it on the front page of Nigerian Tribune. What did you take away from that meeting yesterday? For the communique that was read, they want the National Assembly to quickly work on the electoral bill and send to the president for assent. They also called on some other things. On the other hand, the APC governors are talking about their internal wranglings. They say the date for the National Convention is sacrosanct. Has the dust settled in the APC? And what do you take away from the PDP governors meeting yesterday?
Oh, the PDP governors showed a lot of leadership. They came together. They're also trying to grapple with the crisis of their party. But most importantly, they have a bigger opponent to face that's the APC. And in all their meetings, they ensure that they tell Nigerians that the APC has not done well. And yesterday was not different. They came out with strong positions on some of the things around the country. They spoke about security. They can't actually not keep quiet about that. They said really, really tough things concerning this government. In fact, Tambuwal speaking yesterday said that Nigeria has become the poverty capital of the world, and they were sharing records. They said, well, this is what we left for the APC government, but this is what we're getting. This is what dollar used to be like, but this is what it is now. So you cannot take that away from their meeting, and this is the sort of thing that the PDP will be doing now. It's got its act together. Seemingly, the national leadership is there. The governors seem to be united, and now all they need to do is sell that brand, the PDP brand, back to Nigeria and say, look, this is what we did in the past, and this is what we think we can do in the future. Don't forget that even the president himself seemed to be worried about the emergence or the re-emergence of the PDP as a strong contender, warning his party the other day that, look, if we continue to have this sort of internal wranglings, we're going to, allow ourselves to be taken unawares by the PDP. I think the APC too is worried about that, worried about the president's warning, because now that at least they've agreed to have a date. There's a date now to their convention. A few weeks ago and even a few months ago, they were not sure if they were going to even have a convention. So they are trying to get their conventions round. There are talks about a consensus chairman of their party. So they are also responding to not just the president's warning about what could happen to their party, but also the resurgence, the reemergence, if you like, the revolutionary changes that the PDP seem to be suggesting. The APC want to hold on to power, and it's a battle that they will have to fight themselves. So yes, they have agreed on a date now, and we'll watch to see how they're going to carry out the conventions, and whether the emergence of a consensus candidate or whatever candidate are going, whether it will not further deepen the crisis within the party. But for now, the stage is set for a showdown between two parties, and that's what's going to make the remaining part of this month very interesting. How the APC, solidifies its base, and how PDP continue to chip into the confidences of the ruling party and buy more fans and supporters around the country.
Of course, Emmanuel, we will be here for the ride. Looking forward to getting out the best candidates for the top job. Still in the Tribune newspaper, this one is from the Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, says school certificate requirement too low for position of president, governors, lawmakers, you name it. Now, here's something that's been doing my head in for a long time, Emmanuel. If you wanted to get a job in a federal agency, a private parastatal, whatever it is, you need to have a discharge certificate from the NYC. That's the federal service. You need to have served 1 year, which means you should have gone to the university. But for a lawmaker, all you need is a secondary school certificate. Now, does it make sense that the person making laws, telling you need to do this and that, doesn't go through the university system? And that's the first question. The second question, is a school certificate enough to take you through life? Now, for the laws that have been made all through the years in Nigeria.
Well, Kenneth, that's a very interesting aspect of reporting. And talking about qualification, let me just go back to the This Day front page. We just got some new very powerful hands, joining this table. You can see their qualifications there, and you're right, qualifications do matter. Those names there, their pedigree, the schools they've attended, what they can bring to the table. That's what people do all over the world when they're looking for good hands, to build up a brand or to reposition it for efficiency. You look at the background of those people, their qualifications, where they've been, what they've done, what they've said in the past, their pedigree. And so it's quite, I can understand your concern that at what looks like where decisions are taken for the country. You are saying that qualifications do not matter. Maybe he has to shed more light on what he's saying, but you're right. It's very important that the people who are making laws for this country, people who will be touching the lives of people with the kind of laws they're making. It's good that, we go for the best and we take in the best. Thank God he's not saying that that is not the issue. He's just saying that, well, this is the barest minimum as far as the qualifications are concerned. But we're getting somewhere in the country right now in our experience where we have to be looking at the qualifications of people that we're trying to put in places of leadership. Not just the paper qualification, but of course how they qualify even in their lives, what they've done, their pedigree. We need to start asking questions about these people. Who are they? What have they built in the past? What have they done in the past? What has prepared them? Everywhere in the world, when people are searching for leaders or for leadership, they go for they ask those kind of questions. They don't just stop at the man who is able to, buy votes, who is able to, convince the people to vote for him. They ask questions about their qualifications, their pedigree, what they've done, what they've achieved, what they've done in the past, what they are bringing to the table. If they built something in the past, it means they can build something in the future. If they have done something worthwhile in their lives, it means that they can actually translate that into their leadership position. So those are the kind of questions that people ask in various cycles. And even in the private sector, Kenneth, that you're talking about, you know that qualifications is very important. The schools you've gone to, what you've studied, what you've done in the past, what you've written, the books you've read. So I don't know why we don't actually do the same thing when it comes to the political cycle, why that is not very important. I think it is. I think some form of serious qualification, and I think that's why when a network like the Arise Table organizes debates for future leaders, it's good so that we can enter their head and know what they know, what they think, because it is these ideas, it's ideas that is going to power the changes that we're talking about.
We've done it before, it can be done again. Thank you so much, Matawalle, for reviewing the papers with us this morning. Much appreciated as always.